I'm Elaine Murray, 36 years old, a single mother raising my 9-year-old son, Finn. Nothing could have prepared me for the betrayal that unfolded at my niece's 8th birthday party at my parents' house in the suburbs of Minnesota. I can still hear the choked sobs of my son echoing in my head, still see his bruised face, his clothes smeared with food, and his beloved baseball card collection torn apart and scattered across the floor. They called it a joke, my sister and her friend laughing as they turned my child's pain into their entertainment. "You're overreacting," they sneered. But I saw the fear in Finn's eyes, the kind of fear no child should ever have to endure. This wasn't childish mischief. It was deliberate. It was meant to humiliate my son, to break his spirit. My heart pounded as the truth sank in the very people I trusted most were the ones who orchestrated this cruelty. Every word cut like a knife, the weight of years of family tension crashing down on me like a speeding train. I stood there, fists clenched, ready to face the truth no matter how ugly it was. What kind of family does this to a child? How far would you go to protect the one you love? Stay with me to uncover the shocking betrayal and how I found the strength to fight back. Have you ever had to stand up against your own family to protect someone you love? Share your story in the comments. I'll read every word. Being a single mother raising Finn is my greatest pride, but it has never been easy. At 36, I have spent years piecing together a life for the two of us after my divorce from Gary, Finn's father. He's a software engineer who, after our separation, moved across the country, leaving me to juggle both parenthood and an accounting job in a small apartment in Minnesota. Every late night bent over spreadsheets, every rushed drive to Finn's school events, all felt worthwhile when I saw his smile, especially when he spoke with passion about his baseball card collection, his joy, and his escape. My sister has long seen me as a thorn in her side. Her envy has always cast a shadow over my life. At 17, I earned a full scholarship to a prestigious university thanks to my stellar grades and debate team achievements. She destroyed it by spreading lies to the admissions office, accusing me of plagiarizing my application essay. The scholarship was revoked, forcing me into years of student debt. My mother, Beatrice, never questioned her. Instead, she rewarded my sister with a red convertible for her high school graduation. "She deserves it for her hard work," my mother said, dismissing my academic awards as though they were worthless. My father, Stanley, merely nodded, his silence serving as approval. He took my sister out on special outings while I got nothing more than a good job for bringing home an honor roll certificate. The hurt didn't stop there. In college, I fell deeply in love with Gary. We dreamed of a future together, spending endless nights talking. But my sister inserted herself into our relationship, even showing up on dates, sowing seeds of doubt in Gary's mind about my loyalty. "She's not ready to commit," she whispered, masking her cruelty with charm. Those seeds grew, sparking arguments that fractured us. When I confronted my family, Beatrice brushed it off. "She's just trying to help you too," and Stanley, as always, stayed silent. The divorce left me raising Finn alone, rebuilding from nothing while my sister suffered no consequences at all. Finn's love for baseball cards began at 6, sparked by a gift from Gary, a simple pack that became his whole world. He spent hours organizing them, memorizing the stats of players like Kirby Puckett. His most treasured possession was a rare rookie card, something he saved up to buy from Anita Wells at the local card shop. "Mom, this is my ticket to the big leagues," he said, clutching the card like a trophy. That card became his confidence, his small joy in a childhood where he too often felt overlooked. The favoritism in my family only grew worse. Beatrice showered my sister's children with lavish gifts, drones, gaming consoles, while Finn received secondhand books, if anything at all. When I finally earned a promotion after years of hard work, Beatrice barely noticed, instead, gushing about my sister's brief stint as a real estate agent. Stanley chimed in. "She's got real business talent," without even mentioning my achievement. The favoritism wasn't neglect. It was a deliberate choice to elevate my sister and diminish me. It fueled a resentment I buried deep for Finn's sake, hoping he could still have some semblance of family, flawed as it was. I tried to keep Finn connected to his grandparents and cousins, though each visit felt like stepping into a minefield. My sister's triumphant smirks, Beatrice's constant comparisons, Stanley's indifference, they all cut deep. But Finn's excitement at playing with his cousins kept me coming back. I told myself I could endure the verbal daggers, that I could shield Finn from their toxicity. I was wrong. Before Hazel's birthday party, I helped Finn pick out a gift. My 9-year-old stood in our cramped living room carefully wrapping a baseball playset for his cousin. His small fingers fumbled with the roll of tape, but his face glowed with pride. "She's going to love it, Mom," he said, his voice brimming with hope. I forced a smile, my chest tightening with unease. Any family gathering at my parents' house meant facing my sister, and her presence always carried a sting. I wanted nothing more than for Finn to have a normal, happy day with his cousins, but beneath my resolve, doubt gnawed quietly. I glanced again at the gift, a simple playset we'd scrimped to buy, and knew without question that my mother would compare it to whatever extravagant present my sister brought. Finn, oblivious to the unspoken slights, bounced with excitement. "Can I bring my baseball card collection to show them?" he asked, clutching the binder that held his treasured cards. They were his prized possession, each one a piece of his young heart. I hesitated. Instinct told me to leave them at home, but Finn's pleading eyes wore me down. "All right, but don't let them out of your sight," I warned, my voice sharper than I intended. Finn nodded eagerly, promising to take care of them. A few days earlier, my phone had buzzed with a text from my sister. "There's something special planned for the party. Don't miss it." The words cut like a blade, pointed, deliberate. I had even overheard her on the phone with Constance, her closest friend, the week before. Their voices were hushed, conspiratorial. "It'll be unforgettable," my sister had said, followed by laughter so cold it sent a shiver down my spine. I told myself I was being paranoid, that it was just another of her attention-seeking stunts. Yet the unease clung to me, a silent warning I couldn't shake. As Finn and I got ready to head to my parents' suburban Minnesota home, I kept him close. I watched as he carefully slid the binder of baseball cards into his backpack. "Are you sure you want to bring them?" I asked again, hoping he might reconsider. "Of course, Mom. My cousins will think they're awesome," he said, his grin wide and bright. I swallowed my worry, unwilling to dim his joy. On the drive over, Finn chattered non-stop about his favorite players, his voice sparkling against the knot of dread tightening in my stomach. My sister's text replayed in my mind, the tone too triumphant, too calculated. What exactly was she planning, and why did I have this sinking feeling that Finn was the real target? Hazel's birthday party was held in my mother's backyard in Minnesota, filled with laughter, yet I couldn't shake off the unease gnawing at me. The chatter of relatives mixed with the shouts of children playing on the swings rang out everywhere, but my stomach twisted with a sense of foreboding. My sister arrived with Constance, their smirks sharp as knives, their whispers dripping with something I couldn't quite catch. They moved through the crowd with an air of superiority. My sister tossed her hair arrogantly, as if the whole place belonged to her, while Constance followed with a sly, malicious grin. I kept Finn close, his small hand gripping mine tightly, the backpack carrying his precious baseball card collection slung over his shoulder. Finn quickly darted off to join his cousins, eager to share in the day's excitement. I watched him approach my sister's kids, his face glowing with anticipation. But the atmosphere shifted almost instantly. A boy about Finn's age snatched the baseball bat from his hands, shoving him aside with a mocking taunt. "You don't need this anyway." A younger girl, no less spiteful, giggled and pointed. "Look at his stupid backpack." Her voice was loud enough to make a few people glance over. Finn's shoulders slumped, but he forced a smile, trying to appear cheerful. My heart sank. My fists clenched as I scanned the adults. My mother was too busy chatting with guests, laughing loudly. My father stood at the grill, focused on flipping burgers, eyes locked on the food, utterly indifferent. I stepped closer, trying to keep Finn in sight, but my sister's presence pulled my attention again. She leaned toward Constance, speaking in a low but deliberate voice, her eyes flicking to Finn. "Just wait," she murmured, the corner of her mouth curling upward. Constance nodded, phone in hand, her fingers poised as if ready to record something. My heartbeat quickened. I wanted to grab Finn's hand and leave, but he had already run toward the other children, determined to fit in. I told myself to stay calm, that maybe I was overthinking. But the lump in my chest tightened with every step Finn took. The children's game grew rough. The boy shoved Finn down again, this time over a ball, then burst out laughing as Finn stumbled. "You're so slow," he shouted, tossing the ball to the girl, who instantly echoed his mockery. Finn clutched his backpack tightly, his eyes darting toward me for comfort. I started to step forward, but my sister's voice cut through the noise. "Let them play," she said sweetly, but with a tone dripping in disdain, her smile far too fake. Constance giggled, setting her phone in a hidden spot lens aimed at Finn. The other adults, neighbors, distant relatives, were still engrossed in food and conversation, ignoring the tension. My mother waved off my concern. "Kids will be kids, it's normal," she said. My father didn't even look up. I hovered near Finn, my worry now gnawing into fear. He tried to join in a game of tag, but the boy blocked him again, shoving him back with a sneer. "You don't belong here." The words cut deeper than the shove. The girl instantly piled on, mocking Finn's effort. "Why do you even bother trying?" Finn's cheeks flushed, his arms wrapped around the backpack as if clinging to a lifeline. I wanted to scream, to drag him away, but I froze, torn between the wish for him to have a normal day and my instinct to protect him. My sister's eyes locked on mine, her smirk widening as though daring me. Constance remained patient, her phone pointed steadily, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. Every laugh from the children, every glance from my sister pushed the story toward something darker. I couldn't take my eyes off Finn, my heart pounding as he tried to pretend he wasn't hurt. He kept smiling, still trying to belong, but I could see the pain in his eyes. I edged closer, lowering my voice. "Finn, stay near me." He nodded, but his cousins dragged him back into the game, their laughter sharp and cruel. My sister leaned into Constance again, whispering, both of them staring straight at Finn. The dread inside me solidified into certainty. Something was about to go very, very wrong, and I didn't know if I could stop it. A strangled sob from the small tent in the backyard made my heart seize. The sound cut through the noisy chatter of the party, sharp, desperate, pulling me away from the crowd. I raced across the grass, my heartbeat pounding, the laughter and voices of relatives fading behind me. The tent flap hung ajar, and in the dim light inside I found Finn curled up on the floor, his small body trembling. His face was swollen, a dark red bruise spreading across his cheek, his shirt smeared with dirt and bits of cake frosting. His precious baseball cards lay scattered, torn to shreds, their edges curled and dirty. My knees nearly buckled as I dropped down beside him, my shaking hand resting on his shoulder. "Finn, sweetheart, what happened?" I whispered, my voice breaking. His eyes, red and brimming with tears, met mine, filled with a fear that shattered me. "Mom, don't say anything," Finn pleaded, his voice barely more than a breath. "I'm scared they'll hate me even more." His words hit me like a punch, his tiny hands clutching my arm, begging me for silence. I pulled him into my arms, his sobs muffled against my chest, each sound like a knife slicing into me. His cards, his treasure. His dream lay ruined and still. He feared rejection more than the pain etched across his face. I glanced at the pile of torn scraps, recognizing even his most prized rookie card, now nothing but jagged pieces with frayed edges. My vision blurred with rage and grief, but Finn's grip tightened, his voice shaking. "Please don't tell anyone, they'll just make it worse." His fear was all too real, the cry of a child desperate to belong, desperate to escape cruelty. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but his trembling held me back. I stroked his hair and murmured, "I'm here, Finn. You're safe now." Then I heard it, the sharp, mocking laughter just outside the tent. My sister stood there, arms crossed, her smug smile fixed on her face. Constance stood beside her, phone raised, the red recording light blinking, capturing Finn's misery. What a performance! My sister sneered, her words dripping with venom. Didn't think he'd cry that hard. Constance giggled, angling the phone to catch every detail, her eyes gleaming with delight. My blood boiled. I clenched my fists and shot to my feet, shielding Finn from their gaze. "What did you do?" I growled, my voice low but trembling with fury. My sister rolled her eyes, brushing off the question as if it were meaningless. "Just a game, Elaine. Kids get carried away sometimes." Her indifference was a slap in the face, her smirk daring me to push back. Constance kept filming her cruel laughter, echoing in time with my sister's mockery. I stepped forward, my body shaking, instincts screaming to protect Finn. "This is not a game," I snapped, my voice rising. "He's hurt, and his cards are destroyed." Finn tugged at my sleeve, his voice no louder than a whisper in the wind. "Mom, don't. They'll laugh more." His fear stopped my outburst cold, the terror of humiliation weighing heavier than pain. I turned back to him, kneeling down, my heart breaking at the sight of his swollen face. "I'm taking you home," I whispered gently, helping him gather the shredded remains of his cards. My sister's laughter trailed after us, her voice sing-song and cruel, such drama. Constance's lens stayed fixed on us, unblinking. I guided Finn out of the tent, his trembling hand clutching mine, his backpack now empty, no longer holding the cards he'd once proudly shown off. The party carried on, my mother still laughing with guests, my father still tending the grill, neither of them aware of the cruelty unfolding just steps away. I held Finn tight, my mind reeling with what I'd just witnessed, his pain, their laughter, the recording. This wasn't a childish prank anymore. It was deliberate, malicious, and I knew it wasn't over. Rage surged through me, and I charged straight toward my sister. Finn's trembling hand still clung tightly to mine, his tear-streaked face feeding the fire inside me. The mocking laughter from the tent still echoed. The smug smile on my sister's face hadn't faded as she stood beside Constance near the picnic tables. The party bustled cheerfully around us, no one noticing, but in my eyes, there was only her cruel smile, her casual stance. I stopped just inches away, my voice shaking with fury. "How could you let this happen?" I shouted, my fist clenched at my side. She tilted her head, eyes glinting with disdain. "You're no different from your mother, a failure," she spat, the words cutting like blades. Her words scorched me, but what seared deeper was Finn shrinking beside me. My vision blurred, and before I could think, my hand lashed out, striking her cheek with a resounding slap. Gasps rippled through the crowd, heads turned, but I didn't care. Her head snapped to the side, her hand flying up to cradle her cheek, shock replacing her earlier arrogance. Constance recoiled, holding her phone aloft, the red light still blinking as she filmed. "You've crossed the line?" I said, my voice calmer now, each word heavy with resolve. Finn's grip on me tightened, his small body pressed close, but I stood firm, staring my sister down. She quickly recovered, smirk curling back into place. "Always so dramatic," she sneered, stroking her cheek as if my slap meant nothing. But I saw a flicker of hesitation in her eyes, a small crack in her pride. Beatrice stormed through the crowd, her face twisted with fury. "Elaine, what on earth is wrong with you?" she snapped, drawing more eyes to us. She glanced at Finn, her expression hardening. "This is about that unwanted child again, isn't it? Always causing trouble." Each word was a dagger, every syllable a betrayal. Finn gasped, his grip on my hand tightening until it hurt. I pulled him close, shielding him from her venom, my heart shattering at the fear in his eyes. "Don't you dare call him that," I said, my voice trembling with rage as I faced Beatrice. "He is my son, and he deserves far more than your cruelty." My mother's eyes widened, but she held her ground, arms folded tightly across her chest. My father remained at the grill, silent, his silence a judgment in itself. The murmurs of the guests grew louder, but all I could focus on was Finn's fear and my growing determination. Constance kept filming, her smile stretching wider as though it were all a performance. I turned to her, my voice cutting through the air. "Hand over that video or I swear you'll regret it." Her smile faltered, but she clutched her phone tightly, refusing to yield. I pulled out my own phone, hands still shaking as I snapped photos of Finn's swollen cheek and torn, dirty clothes, documenting every trace of cruelty he had endured. This will be evidence, I warned, locking eyes with Constance. My sister gave a bitter laugh. You're only making a fool of yourself, she said with a dismissive wave, but I was done playing their games. I knelt beside Finn, my voice softening. Let's go home, sweetheart, I whispered. He nodded, pale but trusting. I guided him through the crowd, ignoring the stares. My sister called after me, her voice dripping with mockery. Run away like always. I didn't look back. In the car, I buckled Finn's seatbelt. He clutched his empty backpack to his chest. My heart clenched as I took more photos of his injuries, each bruise etched into me as evidence for the battle ahead. Sliding into the driver's seat, I called Deborah, my lawyer. She picked up quickly, her voice steady. Elaine, what happened? I glanced at Finn in the rearview mirror, his head bowed. They hurt Finn, I choked out. My sister and Constance, they let it happen, maybe even planned it. I have photos of his injuries, and Constance has a video. I want to sue for assault, emotional damage, everything we can. Deborah's tone sharpened, businesslike. Send me the photos. The video could be key. I'll start drafting the case. I nodded to myself, steel settling into my spine. I'm taking him to a doctor right away. They won't get away with this. Hanging up, I turned all my focus to Finn. Mom, are we going to be okay? He asked, his voice small. I reached back, squeezing his hand. We'll be better than okay, Finn. They're going to pay for this. As I drove away, the party lights faded in the rearview mirror, but my resolve burned brighter than ever. The photos and that video would ensure justice for my son. The next morning, Beatrice stood at my doorstep holding a gift box. Her face was drawn, her usual composure replaced with a forced smile. Elaine, can we talk? Her voice softened as she held the box out like an olive branch. I blocked the doorway with Finn hiding behind me, his eyes full of wariness. The sting of her cruel words, calling my son an unwanted child, still burned inside me. There's nothing to talk about, I replied coldly. You already chose your side. Beatrice's eyes widened, but I firmly shut the door. My heart racing, caught between pride and relief. Finn's safety came first, not her belated guilt. A few days later, the news spread. Constance's video had leaked online. One of the party guests, fed up with my sister's arrogance, had shared it. The clip showed Beatrice laughing while Finn cried, her cruelty laid bare before everyone. Social media erupted, shredding the polished image of a glamorous real estate agent. Clients canceled contracts, colleagues turned their backs. Deborah, my lawyer, quickly filed a lawsuit against her for assault and emotional distress, using the photos I had taken of Finn's injuries and the video as evidence. A flood of panicked voicemails from Beatrice poured in, but I deleted them all without listening. Justice was closing in. Healing Finn became my only priority. Though the bruises on his body faded, his unusual silence worried me deeply. I took him to Dr. Larson, a child psychologist who patiently helped him voice his fears. I think if I stay quiet, people will like me more, Finn whispered in one session. I squeezed his hand tightly, promising him that he would never have to endure such pain again. At home, Finn and I slowly built a new rhythm. Gary, my ex-husband, distant since the divorce, began calling Finn every evening, teaching him baseball techniques over the phone. Finn's eyes lit up during those calls, an old spark of joy flickering back. My friend Theo and his wife Evelyn also embraced us like family. Theo took Finn to the batting cages, cheering each time he swung harder. Evelyn invited us for dinner, and my small apartment soon filled with laughter and the warmth of belonging. One evening, Finn excitedly told Theo about a new pitcher he admired, his voice brimming with passion. I watched, my heart swelling with hope. These small moments were slowly stitching together my son's fragile spirit. On a crisp afternoon, I took Finn to the local baseball card shop. His face lit up as he gazed at the gleaming shelves, finally picking a pack with a rookie card. Mom, can we get this one? His eyes shone with anticipation. Smiling, I laid the money on the counter. You deserve it, sweetheart, I said, ruffling his hair. As we left the shop, Finn hugged the pack tightly, his steps light as if a weight had been lifted from him. The therapy sessions with Dr. Larson continued guiding Finn step by step through his trauma. "He's incredibly strong," she told me, "but your love is the anchor that keeps him steady." I gave everything I had, reading him bedtime stories, cheering at his school games, listening when he shyly shared his worries. Gary even attended one session, and his presence steadied Finn further, slowly mending their father-son bond. Theo and Evelyn organized a picnic where Finn played with other kids, his laughter ringing out carefree and pure. Each day, I saw my son growing stronger, his confidence returning. Meanwhile, my sister's world collapsed. The lawsuit advanced, Deborah demanding strict accountability. The viral video had obliterated Beatrice's social standing, her name now synonymous with cruelty. Beatrice called me back, her voice trembling, but I hung up immediately. I had no room left for pity. All that mattered was Finn, the embrace of friends, and the small but solid future we were building together. Weeks later, Finn's smile came easily again, his voice animated as he chattered about baseball, filling our apartment with energy. He taped a new card to his wall, declaring it a symbol of a fresh beginning. One night, as he slept peacefully, I watched his serene face and felt a quiet strength rising within me. We were healing together, leaving behind the shadows of that day at last. Finn stepped onto the baseball field with a confident smile. His glove fit snugly around his hand, his stance steady as he took his place at shortstop. The cheers from the crowd thundered in the background, but his eyes were fixed on the game, glowing with determination. I stood in the bleachers, my heart swelling with pride. My son had come a long way, his spirit no longer clouded by the pain of that terrible day. The lawsuit against my sister had reached its conclusion. Deborah presented the video and the photographs in court, undeniable proof of her cruelty. The judge issued a restraining order forbidding her from contacting me or Finn. Her reputation, already in ruins after the video spread, was now reduced to isolation and the collapse of what had once been a shining career. I felt no triumph, only relief that Finn was safe. Justice had been served not through revenge, but through truth. I had cut Beatrice out of my life completely. After I blocked her number, the calls stopped, and her attempts at reconciliation faded into silence. The voicemails filled with excuses were never heard. I owed her nothing, especially after what she had done to Finn. My family was no longer defined by blood, but by those who truly stood beside us. Gary, Evelyn, and Theo had become our anchors, lifelines in the storm. Day by day, Finn's confidence grew. At school, he joined the baseball team, earning his spot through sheer effort. His coach praised his quick reflexes, and his teammates chanted his name. One afternoon, Gary took him to practice pitching balls for Finn to hit. "You've got real talent, kid," Gary said with a broad grin. Finn beamed, his laughter ringing across the field. It was moments like these, filled with faith and encouragement, that allowed him to blossom. Evelyn and Theo remained steady pillars. Evelyn baked the cookies Finn loved, their sweetness filling our apartment. Theo shared stories of childhood games, sparking bigger dreams in Finn's young heart. At a team cookout, Finn ran freely with friends, joy radiating from him. I watched quietly, my chest light with gratitude. These were the people who chose to love us. They were our true family. One evening, Finn sat at the kitchen table, carefully arranging his baseball card collection. "Mom, I'm glad we have each other," he said firmly. I knelt beside him, meeting his gaze. "Me too, sweetheart," I whispered, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Family is the people who protect you, who lift you up." Finn nodded, understanding far beyond his years. That night, as I tucked him in, he wrapped his arms tightly around me, a hug that carried a trust I would cherish forever. The legal victory had closed a painful chapter. The video, once a symbol of Finn's suffering, had become the very key to protecting him, ensuring my sister could never hurt us again. I no longer carried the weight of my family's judgment. Beatrice's betrayal and cruelty had taught me a bitter truth. Family is not where you come from, but those who stay when you need them most. Finn's season continued, and I cheered at every game, my voice rising alongside Gary's and Theo's. Evelyn passed out cookies to the kids, her laughter mingling with the crowds. At one game, Finn hit a double and his whole team swarmed him in celebration. I clapped until my hand stung my smile as wide as his. Finn was no longer the boy hiding in the shed terrified of rejection. He was Finn, strong, fearless, and surrounded by love. Looking back, I could see the journey we had taken. That day's pain had not destroyed us. It had forged our strength. I had learned to let go of those who hurt us to build a family out of those who cherished us. Finn had learned that he was enough, that his worth did not depend on anyone else's acceptance. Together we had found strength and a home in the love of those who chose us. As the sun set over the baseball field, Finn waved at me, glove raised high. I waved back, my heart overflowing. Family is the people who protect you, who believe in you. And at last, we had found ours.